So we're starting today's program, and as you know, my name is Olusei Olusoya. Everybody call me Prophetess Shei. So I want to welcome every one of you to come Let's Reason Together, a talk show where insightful discussions and shared experiences take center stage. So our slogan here is winning from experience, which kind of encapsulates the essence of our journey together on this platform. So please get ready for engaging dialogues that draw wisdom from the diverse tapestry of life. Let's embark on a collective exploration of knowledge and understanding. And I really thank you for all of you that you have joined me today, as I believe that we are going to share knowledge and we are going to have an enriching adventure. So today I have 4 guest speakers that are supposed to be coming in today. We're still waiting for one, but I believe as we go along, probably she will join us. But today I have 3 of them already on the platform. And I'm just going to give you a brief resume of these 3 gigantic, counselors, learned authors, you name it, they all have it. So I'm going to start with Rod Jeter. Rod Jeter is a best-selling author, TED speaker as well. Wow. Couples coach. After an unsuccessful attempt to save his marriage, what happened? Through traditional counseling, Rod created something called Why Be Angry, which means you can pronounce it as, I think he abbreviated it as Why Be Angry, but then it's actually Why Be Angry. This is a relationship game where all you have to do is to win. And your motivation there is to play it and to win it. So he designed Why Be Angry to help couples stay together, one issue at a time. Ross Graham approach helps couples overcome seemingly insurmountable disagreements that have lasted decades in just minutes. Isn't that wonderful? Wow. There is no fuse, there is no drama. You either of the attached photos. Okay, I'm going to Adina Johnson now. I'll still give you, maybe 1 minute for you to introduce yourself properly, because you might have something that you want to say that I have not spoken about, and which might be interesting to the audience, wherever they are hearing us from. So I'm going to speak about Adina Johnson. He's a retired psychology professor. So we have a professor in the house as well today. Wow, welcome. She's a published author as well, a marriage coach, a YouTuber, a podcaster, a wife, and a mom. She was a youth counselor for 14 years, and she wrote a book called Butterfly Blue, which is the pain of infertility and the power of forgiveness. It's on Amazon if you are interested in buying that. Our podcast is Black Butterfly / Black Pearls. It's also on Spotify. And when you need her, she's ready to ever become, to come in as a guest speaker. So if anytime you want her to come in, just get in touch with me, or I'm going to take their details and we can always share it with you when you contact us. Welcome, Adina. And I'm going to go to JP Marsh. JP Marsh is a 41-year-old single girl dad to a 9-year-old. She is a coach, a speaker, and an advocate for the benefit of healthy co-parenting. Wow. He has a collaboration over conflicts and would love to come on anybody's show and talk about benefit of being adults and putting their children first. Isn't that wonderful? So you can be when you're an adult, how do you co-parent your children, even though you're single? That's what we are looking at in that area. And when we bring such a topic, I think JP will be happy to come back and give us the full details of his area. I'm sure you'll be able to do that. Thank you all for joining me. And to all my all the participants that have joined us this afternoon, I welcome you again, once again. And I hope you will have a fantastic and robust discussion today when we look at the fear of commitment into relationship. which is also known as gamophobia. So before we go into this discussion, let me ask Adina, do you have anything to tell all our participants and those that will be watching us later on the social media?
What's the question?
Can you just give us a brief introduction of yourself? Probably I didn't say everything about you, and you still have one or two things that you want to mention so that people will know that apart from you being a professor, there are others, and a coach and a mother and a psychologist. There's still other areas that maybe you can cook, maybe you go, maybe you love music. We don't know.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I am, as you mentioned, all of those things. I'm wife, mom. That's my best titles among all of them. But yes, I am an avid gardener. I love camping, and I do some cooking.
Wow, you see? Well done. Thank you for joining us. I know it's about 9 o'clock in your area, and for you to have joined us 9 a.m. in the morning, that's fantastic. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Come, let's read it together. We don't take it for lightly or granted. We really appreciate your coming in. Thank you so much. And JP, you came in first. Do you have any other things you want to tell us about yourself?
I'm a avid learner. I go through about 60 books a year on average, and I started taking piano lessons recently because I always wanted to learn how to play piano. So, my outlook is usually to keep learning, keep growing, keep an open mind, and have as many tools as possible to raise my daughter to be the most confident, best human being that she can be.
Thank you so much. So you're doing well in that area. We'll definitely call you back when we want to talk about parenting, single parents parenting. Thank you for joining us. And Rod, any other thing you want to tell us apart from your book or your app?
Just a little bit about myself. I like to fish. That's my best private time, is peaceful time, is fishing.
Oh, wow, fishing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's lovely. I guess you can relate that to kind of, a therapy as well. When you go fishing, it's a form of therapy because it calms you down, because you're looking at other things from another perspective, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us. We are still expecting one more guest speaker. If she come in, I think her name is Bridget. I will be introducing her to you. So let's start today's discussion, because we have less than 2 hours now to discuss this particular topic area. That is an area that I know a lot of people that have been married previously and want to go back into marriage find it so difficult. And not only that, sometimes it could be because of their background, of their experiences, their parents' experiences, which they've observed, they've seen, they've passed through it, and then they want to settle down as a single person, but then they're scared about it. There's this thing that we call gamophobia, which is the fear of actually, going into relationship. I don't know whether you want to tell us what your understanding is in general. I'm going to ask the three of you. And then what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give each of you like 15 minutes to talk about this particular topic today. So we are not kind of entering each other, and then we will start the question and answer. I think that's a fair way of doing this. But on a general ground, what is your knowledge about gamophobia? And I'm going to call Adina to start for us. Ladies first, you know what I mean?
Yes, thank you. I think people are afraid of commitment because they're afraid of getting hurt. I think most of the time it is the fact that they don't know if the person is going to hurt them. I think to overcome that, it is so important to understand yourself, understand what you want. So to avoid being hurt, I think it's important to, I guess you don't have to necessarily get into therapy, but you have to understand who you are and what is important to you and what you will and will not stand for. I think so often in relationships, individuals don't know what they want, so they're afraid to reject other individuals or to remove them from their life. So they don't let them in the beginning because they fear getting hurt. So I think that's why individuals are afraid of commitment.
Thank you very much. So you believe that it's because everybody is scared of getting hurt, especially when they've experienced that before, they try to guide against it. Thank you very much. What about JP? What's your knowledge around that, or what's your own perspective to why people are scared to go into a relationship?
I mean, I think what she was saying plays into it. You know, obviously your past traumas or unresolved baggage, unresolved traumas, definitely need to be dealt with. As far as if you were hurt by somebody who had certain traits or certain tendencies, then you're going to be fearful to commit to somebody who has like traits and like tendencies or thoughts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So until you sort of get through and work on baggage and trauma, it's hard to really open up to anybody, especially if you've been hurt. But also really taking a look and analyzing your worldview or perspective and the way that you were raised or the way that you interact or your social circles or, you know, people that you follow or let influence your worldview. If you analyze that, it'll, you know, if you were brought up by a single parent household that was never in a commitment and you didn't see what commitment is really, you're not going to have any relation to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so background is going to play into it, but also I think imposter syndrome falls into it because you put your best foot forward and you show the best parts of yourself, but when you actually commit to somebody, they're going to see maybe the things that you don't want them to see. So then there's also that fear of being found out, or you're not good enough, or maybe some of your perceived flaws are going to sabotage the relationship. So you're better off just not committing from the beginning. I mean, there's probably a lot of different ways you could look at it to where people would be fearful or uninterested, you know, and especially in society now with social media and all of these different things, it's hard to, you know, justify committing to one person when they're getting more interest and validation online.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If they're seeking it from everybody else that's all around the planet that follows them on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
what's the enticement for you to commit to them when they're sharing all of themselves with everybody that follows them? You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so it's kind of getting into a weird time to be, you know, back in the 1950s when you went to the, you know, you had your community and that was the pool of your dating pool.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, how far you could drive or how far, you know, how big your city was your community. But now, you know, if you're dating somebody and they have 50,000 followers, every time they post a picture, they're getting 40,000 comments, 40,000 likes, 10,000 DMs. Where's their commitment to, you know, if they're not willing to sort of scale back on some of those things to commit to you, I mean, how are you supposed to commit to them? You know what I mean?
I get you.
But that would be my initial thoughts.
I think that's a great perspective to what we are going to be looking at today, because I'm still going to come back on that. Because if you are committed to someone, and in these days of social media, and you have about, just like you said, 50,000 people being their friends, and majority of those friends are women. or majority of the friends are men, then you tend to start asking yourself, is this person really this person really committed to me? And that's the fear there. So you're not sure. So, and because you're not sure, you don't know the intention. Even if the intention of this person is real, it becomes a problem. Wow, we're gonna look more into that, because I think it's an area that we need to discuss properly to see how people can manage that when it's affecting them. So Rod, what do you say about gamophobia?
Well, I think people are simply afraid to commit because of their life experience, what their life has shown them. I believe, and now I have no experience in therapy, and I don't do a bunch of studies and stuff like that, but I believe most relationships end badly. That's why they end. Even if the person you've been in love with for 20 years, if they die, that's still badly. So I think people are just afraid to commit because of their past experience. Now, also, although people change during the relationship, and that is probably to be expected if they're growing, but I believe a lot of times we commit to the wrong person. We commit to someone who was never going to be compatible with us. We were seeing them, we met their representative, like JP said, or, we were just seeing them through rose-colored lenses, and and I think girls are good about this, refuse to see the bad things that were in front of us, or you thought you could change it. But I think I have a remedy for that, and we can talk about it later.
Yes, we
But
have to talk about it. We will talk about it because it's going to come out. Now, we've all understood that, because what I can deduce from every one of you actually, putting down your own ideas or knowledge of what this fear of commitment, where it is coming from. I can see that you're all saying the same thing. You're all on the same page, that probably is because people don't want to get hurt again. And those that are just getting married for the first time are skeptical of their foundation as well. And community as well doesn't play a good role around it. And that's what JP was saying, that if you are committed with someone, and in these days that everything is about social media, and the man I'm committed to is actually posted a picture, and about hundreds and thousands of girls is saying, oh, you look nice, or you look great, or you look, where am I? Where is my position? Am I sure that this man is really, really committed to me? So I'm going to start with Adna again. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. Tell us, as a psychologist, you must have seen a lot. And you're a counselor, for crying loud. So you must have seen people coming to you, wanting to commit into another relationship, wanting to go on that ladder of getting married. Maybe he's a widow. Maybe they have been separated. Maybe he or she has gone through, divorce, and it went really bad. Now this gentleman is coming in with everything that a woman can actually, look for. And he's saying, I really, really like you, and I want us to, I want to settle down with you. And you are damaged from where you have been coming from. How would you treat this particular situation? Because this
I would
one
encourage
is scared.
I would encourage the person to go to counseling first to understand who they are. And oftentimes, if you haven't weeded out, case in point, if you are angry and you're bitter, then oftentimes you won't have someone to come to you and want to have a commitment, or they may be playing with you. It's called the law of attraction. Oftentimes, if we're unhealthy, we'll attract an unhealthy person. So I would encourage that person to go to counseling to weed out some of that pain so they can attract a healthy person that is prepared to be in a relationship with them. Oftentimes we've seen our friends, we've seen family members, or we've seen other people, they keep attracting the same type of person. That's because they are that type of person. So, I mean, think about it. Athletes usually go with athletes. skaters go with skaters. We attract the people that we are. So oftentimes I would encourage individuals to go ahead and get help to get past the pain of the previous relationship, get past the pain of their childhood and things that have happened to them. So I wouldn't encourage that person to get into a relationship until they get to know themselves first. That way, when they see red flags in dating, and that's some of the stuff that we talk about in my podcast, Black Butterfly, Black Pearls, when you see red flags in dating, just stop and don't continue the relationship with that person. Oftentimes, individuals are not healthy enough to be in our life, and we continue to force it.
Wow. Wow. So the first thing for you would be for that person to go and to go for counseling, to understand him or herself, and to kind of look for a way to relieve him or herself of the pain of the past. There's something that you picked up or that you mentioned that I really want to emphasize on. Why will people keep attracting same people? You said something that is because it is who they are as well. How do we know that they are the same person? How do we know that they have the same character?
Because if, say for instance, when I was a youth counselor for 14 years, I would have parents constantly telling me, every school, I've changed my kid's school, I've changed my kid's church, we've changed their entire environment, and they keep attracting the wrong crowd. And I would often tell them, that's because your kid is the wrong crowd. They're going to find the people that connect with them, that are like-minded. I mean, think about it. If, you know, as adults, we work hard on making our environment more, we work on us getting a little bit more variety in our environment, but that's something that as adults, oftentimes we have to work hard on it. Individuals usually connect with the people that are most like them. So oftentimes it's called the law of attraction. So off of the times, that's what they connect with, and that's who they'll be around. I mean, we see it all the time. Like the analogy I told you about, oftentimes athletes, all the football players hang with the football players, basketball players. You know, if individuals like golf, that's usually the thing that they talk about when they introduce themselves, when they meet each other. Hey, what do you like to do? Oh, I like to play golf. Let's go play golf. What do you like to do? Oh, I like to drink. Let's go to the bar. So usually like-minded people are connected.
Wow. So in the counseling period, how can somebody like that be helped? Because I'm using your 10 minutes. That's why I'm asking you all these questions. How can somebody like that be helped? Because within them, they might not believe that there's that kind of a person. They will believe in themselves that they're good. Why are they attracting the wrong people? So how would they identify that they have similar characters of the people that they are being attracted to?
That's why in counseling, we as counselors help individuals process. We help them process what's going on. So we would ask the questions, you know, what type of person did you date before? What type of person was your father? What type of person was your mother? Did your mother date? You know, what type of person did your mother date? And so we have to weed out where the issues are. And that's what we call processing. We help them process where they are in their relationship, how they got there. So we just go through the process. And then that's when they have an understanding of, oh man, you're right. I keep getting with the same guy. This guy cheated on me. This guy cheated on me. This guy abused me. This guy abused me. So after all of that, then they understand, okay, so what is it about me that is attracting an abuser? What is it about me that is attracting what is it about me that is attracting someone that will cheat on me? And what is it about me that will stay? Did my mom, you know, date an abuser? Did I see that in my attracting?
Can anyone hear me?
Recording. So can you
It's echo.
Yeah.
can you hear me now?
There's
Yeah,
an
we have
echo.
echo.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
It's better. Sorry, because it's two gadgets and I need to do that because I know one is sometimes just cut off. So where I think I had you last was the fact that when parents come and the way you counsel them around the children, for them to identify why they keep on attracting other people is the similar way that you will counsel a person that keeps on attracting same people. I'm going to come back to you because there are questions that we will have to, that I've picked up on that area that I want us to do. Because you see a lot of people that have been into relationship, let's say married before, and it didn't work. And they are now separated or they've now divorced, but they are struggling to go back into that relation, to another relationship, simply because to them, they have this this insight that they are good people. They've not done anything wrong. They are this, they are that. So why they don't keep on attracting? Maybe they've gone into another relationship, one or two, and it didn't work. And then they keep asking themselves, what is going on with me? So we need to look into that today. So I'm going to come to JP. In 10 minutes, could you just give us your submission around this particular topic, the fear of commitment?
Well, I mean, to kind of touch on what Adina had said, like the analogy that she used with, teenagers and the parents changing them from school to school, but they find the same group of essentially the same friends, regardless of what school they go to, which also plays into this. You need to be the person or people that you want to attract, right? And so, sure, the kid's getting moved to different schools, but his energy and the way that he is, if he goes up and talks to a kid that's on the golf team that's a 4.0 student, that kid's going to get a bad feeling around him and not want anything to do with him, right? And so then the people that his energy and body language and all of these things that are, subconscious are attracting are the same troubled kids, the same kids that are flunking out of school, have troubled homes, or whatever the case may be, because that's still what he's putting out. You know what I mean? So same as relationships and same as commitment, as far as a pattern goes, if you don't internally know and feel that deserving of love, deserving of a healthy relationship, deserving of, if you don't deal with the baggage and know who you are and can be okay alone, to be selective on who you spend your energy with and who you spend your time with and have love for yourself, you're going to attract people who won't have love for you, respect for you. You know what I mean? If you have the victim mentality of, oh, everybody cheats on me, there are certain tendencies or traits that you're picking in these people, whether it be the bad boy or excitement or a woman that has a huge following on Instagram or that wears provocative clothing, you know what I mean? Like Rod was saying, you got to be able to see these things while you're in this honeymoon phase of dating. You know what I mean? If you're not aware of these triggers or flags or traits, they're going to pop up. I mean, you can't avoid them. And so, Adina brought up therapy. Therapy is a big deal. Everybody has trauma. Everybody has, baggage from past relationships or childhood or, but also self-awareness. If you're aware of the societal pressures that this is the standard, right? You need to buy this, you need to own this. This is the type of partner that you should be after. I live in a rural area and I live a very simple life and I love my life. My life is peaceful. I'm okay alone, but I haven't bought into the societal pressure that I need to live in a metropolitan area and own this car and have this house and have this and this and this and this, because that's not what's going to make me happy. Now, financially, I could, you know what I mean? I could move to Seattle or Austin, Texas, and I could date somebody that's, 28 years old, but that's not going to fulfill me. And I know that's not going to fulfill me because I have self-awareness that I know what I want and I know the life that makes me happy. Whereas if you don't, you chase these things that are never going to make you happy. You know what I mean? Women are told especially that either you don't need a man, you can do everything a man could do, be successful on your own, and traditional roles and all of these things are to be demonized in this social media culture, whereas, and then they buy into it. And when they want to commit or decide that it's ready to settle down, all of the good guys are in committed relationships and probably married and off the market. So your dating pool is people who are cheating on their spouses and getting divorced, or, I hate to say it, but Peter Pan syndrome, if that's a term that a lot of people use, the guys that never want to get out of their 20s, or, the list goes on and on and on. But without being self-aware and being okay alone and being able to objectively look or have people in your life that can tell you, like, this is not okay behavior from this person that you're dating. You know what I mean? Like, he showed up at your work unannounced to make sure you went to work. You guys have been dating for 2 months. Like, it's time to end that relationship and move on, because that's only going to escalate because you're still in the honeymoon phase. So anything that's a red flag in the first, 6 months of dating is probably only going to escalate as they get more comfortable and you become more intertwined on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you very much. I think we are still on the same page. You are still saying what Adnan said to us. But I think there's something that you mentioned about this thing called victim mentality. And I'm going to come back to that. I've noted on my paper, we're going to come back to that. So Rod, I'm going to call you to tell us your own understanding of fear of commitment. But in your submission, I will want you to please tell us, probably, if you can just give us 1 or 2, 3 signs of how you will know that you are scared to go into a relationship. Because there are signs to let you know, okay, oh, I think I need a counseling now. I think I'm going through something. Not necessarily because, you've not met the right guy. But then there are something that will be happening to you that you feel like this is not normal. Why am I having anxiety? What is going on with me? So if you could just mention some of the things that you believe will be signs to tell us that, oh, this person is actually going through fear of committing to another relationship.
Well, first I want to say, I had raised my hand. I wish you had called me before you called on JP, because he stole a lot of my thunder.
Oh, it means you're thinking alike then.
Yeah. But Adina mentioned a couple of things, and I just want to put a little twist on.
Now you want to steal my answers?
No, but I kind of slightly disagreed or just had a different twist on what you said. I don't believe we attract people that are like us. I think when people say be who you want to attract, it means be the kind of person that's necessary to attract the kind of person that you want to be with. For example, if a girl is walking down the street half naked, then she's not going to attract a guy that's half naked. She's going to attract a guy that just wants to have sex with her.
Absolutely.
And until she changes that, that's the kind of guy she's going to keep getting. So if she wants to attract a guy that's going to respect her for her mind, then, she probably needs to put some clothes on so he can see past all that stuff. If you have to move your kid from school to school because they're getting bullied, then your kid's probably not a bully. He's probably soft. He's probably weak. So that is what you need to change. He's attracting, or she's attracting bullies. So that's my take on that. And again, now I said before, if you're fortunate enough to get in a relationship with someone that you think is the right person, it's very feasible that that person is going to change as situations in your life change, or situations in your relationship change, especially if you don't understand each other. So the person that you were madly in love with before, because you thought they were madly in love with you, maybe now things have happened and you guys have had some misunderstandings. So maybe now you feel like they don't love you as much, or maybe you're not the most important person in their life. So now you're going to start acting different, which is going to cause them to start acting different. And the relationship is going to end badly. So if we can just keep a good understanding, if we can continue to talk to each other like we did when we first met, and not see negative stuff in what the person says, even though they didn't mean it, then things can probably stay good. So I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Rod. Thank you for that. And you've actually mentioned part of the things I want us to look at. When I said to JP that I'm going to come back to that area of victim mentality. And you've just said something now to say, if you continue to see everyone as a batter, if you continue to see everyone as a negative person based on your past experiences, then it's going to affect your thinking. Because what will happen is that every time you're around them, it's only the negative vibes that will be in you. That's what will be going on in your head. And then you start behaving inappropriately in trying to guide yourself, inappropriately in trying to manage your behavior, inappropriately in trying to see whether you can put a guide around yourself so that you don't get hurt. And then the other party starts seeing you as somebody being withdrawn, if I'm right, in this area. And then what will happen is that it's not balanced again. And what you are trying to avoid will end up happening. I know JP have said something that you got to leave your old baggage to go into the present baggage. But people struggle with that. Are they expecting a perfection right from the start when they want to go into a new relationship, coming from where they've been coming from? Because obviously they've had that experience. There's no doubt about that. Someone that has gone through domestic violence, and I think that's a big deal for me. That most of the time he or she was in that marriage, it was all about beating, it was all about physical harm, it was all about sexual abuse and all this stuff. And then you come into a new, don't forget that within that person already has the fear that, oh, is this going to work? Let me just give you a try. Let me just give you a try. But then he's guiding, or she's guiding herself or himself. And so his behavior is not going to be normal. And it's going to be portrayed to that other person. How do we manage this aspect of someone going from point A to point B and to wanting it to get balance? Everybody wants to be happy in a relationship. Everybody wants to be excited. We want to have fun when we are married to each other. So how do we manage this area? How do we get this stuff? Because it's in our head. How do we get it off? And before we get it off, what signs are we going to see to say, oh, this one looks like a different person? I think I can give him or give her the opportunity, JP.
Well, I mean, nobody's perfect, right? And so to expect somebody that you meet or start dating to put them on a sort of pedestal or, you know, have an image of this person to be perfect is unrealistic. You know, just like personal growth or learning or bettering yourself, you know, practicing mindfulness, playing piano, it doesn't really matter. Like everything on earth is a constant learning, changing, and growing experience. But TV, movies, and all of these outside influences tell you that every relationship should be a romantic comedy, right?
Oh, yeah,
Like it
absolutely.
doesn't take any work. It doesn't take work. It doesn't take try, and it doesn't take
Happy
effort.
ever
It's just
after.
boom, you're in love. There you are. You
Happy
know
ever
what I
after.
mean?
That's it.
Yeah, right. The Disney mindset, right? You're gonna find Prince Charming. You're gonna find your princess and live happily ever after. And there's never gonna be a struggle, and you're never gonna have conflict. But also, it makes it a delusional mindset or a mentality of that, because nothing becomes your fault, your responsibility, because, you know, it's supposed to be perfect. So obviously they're the problem. And so, you know, whether you're male or female, your friends are going to tell you that you're right and they're the problem, even knowing you're probably adding into the whatever the situation is. I mean, and I see it a lot working with, you know, co-parents, people who are either, you know, freshly divorced or have been divorced for a while. It's always the other person. You know what I mean? Like I'll talk to somebody and I'll say, well, what's going on this week? Well, they. And then I say, well, what did you do? What, you know, sure, they may be a higher conflict, but are you also throwing gas on the fire? You know what I mean? If you have two people standing there with gas cans and they're both throwing gas on the fire gets big. But if you stop playing the victim like it's always them and understand that you're adding into it, things get better, and things will be like, you know, even in committed relationships or anything, like any relationships, whether it's business, personal, social, it takes work, you know. No, anybody that's had a friend for, you know, most of their life, you've gone through issues. I mean, it's, you know, but you didn't just cast them aside. You just work through it, and it's constantly work. I mean, you have to put in work. You can't look at a relationship like you're just all of a sudden it's going to be rainbows and flowers and there's never going to be any conflict. Nobody's going to change. How you think now is how you're going to think 20 years from now. And knowing that, you know, what your triggers are, like you were saying, if your past relationship may have been abusive or turned out a certain way, if you don't deal with those triggers or deal with those traumas, you're going to either try to impose a jail sentence on somebody that didn't commit the crime, because now you haven't dealt with traumas or you haven't dealt with your past, and so you're unavailable to have difficult conversations, right? So if you're with somebody that isn't abusive but your past was abusive, and you get in a argument and they raise their voice, you're going to be triggered because your past experience tells you that it's going to get violent, even knowing that maybe they're just getting enthusiastic or, you know, their voice raises just a little bit, but you're triggered and now you're on a super defensive state of mind and nothing's going to get resolved. It's just one person is going to shut down. The other person's not even going to understand why the other person shut down. And, you know, Rod could probably speak to this a lot better than me with marriage counseling and these things and those things, because you know, it's a constant, you're constantly trying to move forward, but you constantly have to have an open mind to the other person, right?
I would like to say something.
Go ahead, Rod.
So, but I'm on the side of the victim, I guess. I think God blessed us with perception for a reason, and the way we perceive things are supposed to help us in life. So if I'm walking, if I walk out of my front door and there's a lion in the front yard, I'm not going to go up and say, oh, what a pretty kitty, and try to pet it. I should perceive that as a threat. That's
Right.
That's there for my safety. So sometimes, to be on the victim side, if I've been in a relationship that was violent, and if I'm a woman, and this guy raises his voice angrily or grabs me really hard, then that should be a red flag that I probably should listen to.
Mm.
Because, if you don't learn from your mistakes, then, I mean, so I guess I'm just trying to say we can't just totally forget about our past. We need to learn from that.
Mm.
Of course, yeah, we have to learn from our past and get out of those relationships. We can't just say, well, he's different than the last guy that was kicking my butt.
So we still need to maintain maintain the present, but we cannot forget the past. But then, if we don't forget the past, how do we move in the present and the future? I'm not saying forgetting the past, because what you've just said is the right thing. If I'm coming out from a relationship where morning, afternoon, evening, my food is always physical harm, I wouldn't want to go into a relationship where that is the same thing that I will experience. However, I need to give another person a chance to prove themselves right. So how do I balance that? That is what we are looking at now, because a lot of people that you see at this moment scared of going into a relationship. Oh, my wife did this for me when I was married to that woman. Oh, she did this for me. She almost killed me. She almost did that. And then you want to go into another relationship. How do you balance that? Because not every woman is a killer.
Right.
Not every man is a beater.
But
so
this is
how do
what
we
the
balance it?
This is what the dating stage is for, right? You don't just meet someone and marry them. You date them. You don't just meet someone and say, okay, we're boyfriend and girlfriend now. You should date them and interview them and make sure they are suitable. And this is your chance to say, hey, I'm not going to tolerate being beat on. I'm not going to tolerate being cheated on. I'm not going to tolerate a woman that's doesn't want to cook 4 days a week. This is your chance to make sure you let them know what you need, and it's your chance to make sure you understand what they need, so that you guys have an understanding. And then during the relationship, if it seems like that understanding is waning a little bit, then you play the game or you talk about it and make sure you stay on track. I think that's how it should go.
I'm going to bring Abna in now. And I quite understand what you're saying. Abna, I'm sure you know that sometimes, and that goes for every one of you, JP and Rod, people come in and pretend that they are the best. I don't know whether you've come across that. They pretend that they are the best. They show you love. They put the right foot out there for you. You tend to start looking that, through them, and there's no fault to say, I can't settle with this person. But then at the moment you start living together as husband and wife, you start seeing some things that you've never seen before. And people out there will be saying, but didn't you see the red flag? You must have seen this before. Or are we going to say that this person missed that red flag, Adna? How do we deal with that?
It's Adina. And that's why you need to go to, and it doesn't have to be a counselor, but that's why you need to go to a mom, a dad. You need to go to someone older who has seen some of the red flags, so you don't ignore those things. And they can explain to you, okay, this is not good. This is what you need to look out for. And it's not that we necessarily have to learn from if someone attacks us. We have to learn from when we see, oh, my big sister was in a relationship and the guy started yelling at her, and then he's, it escalates. We have to look at other people and other relationships. And also, that's why it's important to ask the person. That's like he was saying with the dating phase. That's why it's important to say, okay, what did you see growing up with your parents? Was that okay? Was it okay that they yelled and screamed? Did they run down the street? Did they attack each other? What was the relationship, with the adults in your family as you were growing up? Because they could see some of the chaos and think it's okay. In my family, we might all sit in the corner and read a book and not argue and not disagree. But also when you're in a relationship, that's why you need to seek help, seek other people to help you in the relationship. That way they can see some of the red flags, or they can even talk to you about, hey, when this happens, this is what you need to do to get some of that stuff out. A lot of times individuals, when they're in a relationship or they're trying to get into a relationship, they don't know what they don't know. So that's why they need to see other people. That's why they need to seek pre-engagement counseling. I think they need to seek family members who can help them, who can see around the corner. Because if you're trying to say, hey, I want to be in this relationship for the long haul, that, I think young people sometimes they see, oh, I was in relationships for 2 months, like JP was saying, and we were so in love. No, slow down, because when you're talking about being with someone a lifetime, my husband and I, we've been married for 24 years, together 27. 2 months? I've had a stomach ache for 2 months. I mean, that's nothing. That's no time. So it's so important that we understand who we're dealing with, understand some of the things they've seen in their life, understand what is okay and what is not okay. Sometimes individuals see red flags, but they don't realize they're red flags because they're not educated in that area. So that's why it's important that we get counseling or we get education in that area from some older people who can spot these things, because they just don't know what they don't know.
So they need someone like a mentor who can mentor them through settling into a new relationship, irrespective of their experiences. Does that go for people that are divorced or that have separated? Do you think they will benefit from that as well?
You mean, I don't understand the question.
What I'm saying is, you are actually referring to our young ones that want to marry that might miss all this red flag.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, what about people that they've been married before, they're separated, they're divorced? Would they benefit from having a mentor as well?
Because just like I think JT was saying, is it JP or J? Oh, just like JP was saying, if they've been divorced, they took a part in it. So what was your part? What did you see that you ignored? That's why it's so important that we have a plan in place. Say, for instance, because there's going to be conflict. We have conflict with ourselves, and people often ask, well, what's conflict with yourself? I want the cake. No, I don't need the cake. I want the shoes and the purse. No, you don't need both. Your husband's going to kill you if you get the shoes and the purse. So you have to have a plan in place to know how to handle those things. You have to have a plan in place because conflict is inevitable. We're going to have a disagreement. We're going to have a conflict. And that's why you talk to individuals and say, okay, when we have this conflict, how are we going to handle it? Are you going to yell and scream? Because yelling and screaming won't work for me. That's why we talk to individuals ahead of time. How did your parents handle conflict? Did they yell and scream? Did they run up and down the highway? What happened? What have you seen? So a lot of times individuals don't know to ask those particular questions, and I think because of my counseling background, I was able, when I met my husband, to ask certain questions. I asked the questions that I needed to know the answer, because when conflict happened, how are we going to handle it? Let's put a plan in place.
So it's good to have open mind and to be able to question each other, as to what will happen if this happen, what will happen if that happen, when you're coming together. I'm going to come to JP. And I'm looking at this from the angle of the fact that people are scared because of the fear of the unknown.
Right.
Does experience count in this conversation? Does our experiences count? Does it work for the next move? Let's put it that way. Does it work for the next move? I'm coming from a relationship that I've left and I'm going to go into a new relationship. Number one, I have to be open-minded.
Right.
And when we're talking about being open-minded, does that mean reflecting on the whole package of that relationship to see, because, you know, we always play a victim game. I think most people play a victim game. You will never see two couples and one will say, okay, I hands up. Yes, it was my fault. Or you see the other one, or you say, oh, we both had our issues in this, we both contributed to this problem. So I think, would that be the first thing that they have to do before they can get really settled in a new one?
Yeah, I mean, with, you know, you have to understand your past to know where you are, but also the paths that led you to where you are that were either negative or positive, right? In mindfulness, they call it, you know, general curiosity, you know, being open-minded, being curious, and knowing, but also learning from, you know, your mistakes or things that you maybe could have done, should have done, or a combination of both. You know, they both sort of touched on, you know, dating with purpose, communicating, not rushing, not being distracted by chemical euphoria to be blind to the reality, right? But also dating is your dating process. And, you know, obviously me being a single parent in a co-parenting relationship, my daughter's mother and I did not have these difficult conversations, this open communication, and this, you know, things that needed to be discussed leading into, you know, having a child, being in a serious relationship and or marriage, right? Like conflict resolution, parenting styles, 5-year plans, future goals. Where do you want to live? How do you want to live? How were you raised? You know what I mean? All of these conversations should happen before you decide to have a child, before you decide to get married, and also communicating your preferences and boundaries being the most important thing, leading up to getting into a committed, serious relationship, as opposed to, we just got married, now I can impose my boundaries. You know what I mean? Like now all of a sudden, I don't want you to go be a part of your bowling league that you've been part of, or softball team that you've been a part of for the last 10 years. I want you to spend more time at home. And that's where these things should have been discussed prior, because if you didn't, you know, communicate your boundaries, needs, and wants before you got married, you can't just all of a sudden start imposing these needs, wants, and boundaries because, oh, now you're locked in. These are things that should have been discussed leading into a marriage. And I'm just using softball and stuff like that as an example, but you come across it a lot. You know what I mean? If you rush the dating process and get married, and she's never cooked for you leading up to that point, 2 weeks after you get married, you can't be mad at her because she's not cooking. You know what I mean? Because dinner's not done when you come home, right? And so if you rush the dating process, but if you don't learn, you know, from your past, my daughter's mother and I dated for a few years. We're living together, had a baby. it didn't work out a couple years after my daughter was born. I learned from that relationship. The last relationship I was in, we dated for 2 years. I expressed, my needs, wants, boundaries. When I felt like my needs weren't getting met, or, obviously it's a little bit different of a time. It's 15 years later, but I didn't keep going on this journey of this relationship, knowing that what she was giving me was all that she had the capacity to give. You know what I mean? And so I could either stay on that train and not get fulfilled, not feel like I was a priority, and not feel like I was, getting the reciprocation of what I was giving. I wasn't receiving what I was giving in the relationship. So then it's, I made the decision that, it's not the right time. You're not the right person. I didn't get into a serious committed relationship, move in together, start having a family, be around her kids, she's around my daughter and everything, and then play it out for 5 years and decide, oh, it's not working. Now that everybody's involved, now that everybody's, emotionally connected and emotionally invested. And so using my past to navigate where I am now, because, I'm not codependent like I was with my, before my daughter's mother and probably my daughter's mother. I'm okay alone. I don't need validation from somebody else. If you're going to be a part of my life, you're going to be a part of my life, rather than I need somebody to get rid of the loneliness and stuff like that. And so knowing your past is helpful, but knowing what's healthy and what's unhealthy, what you need, what you want, and what you're actually looking for, and being able to express and communicate those boundaries leading into a serious relationship are going to help immensely.
Thank you very much. Knowing your past is very, very important, but you got to be in the present and deal with the present, not allowing the past to actually dictate your present for you, but you cannot forget the past. That's just the truth. Now, I want us to look. I think I'm going to, because we have 45 minutes to end this discussion today. So I'm going to open the floor for others that wants to ask our panelists questions, or if you want to contribute as well, because we are looking at people that are frustrated. They don't want to be alone. Yes, they've experienced. You said something that probably when we got married, there was nothing like what we are experiencing these days in terms of the power of social media. Because as much as we are going to say that social media is naughty, you both agree with me that it is still a wonderful instrument of exposition as to what is going on out there. However, it depends on how you use it. I think Rod mentioned something about someone exposing half of our body and, wanting to attract the right person. But at times, do you know that they attract the right person? And then you tend to look at a decent lady, all decent throughout, and they keep attracting the wrong person. And these are the kind of people we look at, and they will like, but I've tried my best. I've tried my best. I was listening to a video this week. I think one of my colleagues will be able to confirm this for me. And this was a video of a bitter man, a man that has experienced bitterness in his marriage, very bitter, condemning other women, condemning other women in totality, to say, oh, she did this, she did that, all women are bad, all women are this, all women are that, And I said to myself, and people were trying to condemn him, and I said, you can't condemn him. He has this experience, and they say experience is the best teacher. So whatever he has experienced, that is where he is coming from, and that's why he is speaking out, because he's bitter. You can never see a bitter man saying something that is reasonable. He will always be judgmental because of what he has seen. However, what we need with this man is for someone to go to this man, like a counselor, to say, look, You might have experienced this, but everybody's not like that. But we take the power of a good counselor to be able to convince that person to say you can still get, you can still get love out there. And that is what we are looking at today. A lot of people, I've met someone that says, I don't want to marry again. I am tired. I have everybody there, they are liars. Every man there, they are liars. And we know, I don't want to be biased there because we have the men, we have the women. Yes, I don't want to be gender biased. But I always say, if you have 10 men that are lying, we have 15 women that are lying. So it's a vice versa. It is what you meet that you're going to talk about. What kind of help can we give someone that has experienced negativity in their previous marriage, but they want to settle down? They still believe that they can find love out there. Because maybe the process, because you mentioned something about, I think it was Rod that mentioned, it was JP that mentioned something about dating with purpose, dating with purpose. So how will they date with purpose? Would they have a list of what they are looking for? And if they don't get the list of what they are looking for, then they are not doing it right? Or there's going to be compromise in what they are looking for? We can't get it all.
I mean, I guess dating with purpose would, knowing what you want in the end. You know what I mean? Like, sure, you have your preferences and know what you're after, know what you're looking for, but dating is, compared to being a job seeker, right? You're going and you're looking for a new job, right? You send your resumes out all over the place and you're going to interviews. Mm-hmm. Now, you can go to all these different interviews, but you know what job you want. If you're interviewing for, 5 different types of jobs, sure, you need the money and, a job is a job, but you're going to put more effort into the interview to the job that you actually qualify for or want. You know what I mean? That's the end goal. That's the career that you want. So when you're dating with purpose, you need to know what you want in the end, because if somebody's not filling your cup or fulfilling your needs, then you're wasting time. And while you're wasting time with that person, you're either half in, half out entertaining other men or women because you know that it's not a long term with that person. So you're not dating them with the purpose or with, the end in mind. They're just there, right? They're a filler. And so then you're still opening up these options, which, essentially you're taking advantage of the person that you're dating while you're still looking for the better option. And so you're not dating with purpose, you're jumping from one to the other, or wasting time with somebody that that you're not seeing long-term, intentions with or compatible with. And even if you're not, open to other people, that means you're close to other people. And the person that could be a perfect match for you or super compatible with you, you don't, give them the opportunity. You're not available to receive that opportunity. So you're just wasting time. You're not dating with purpose, with these people that are just fillers in parts of your life. So you're either, being a bad partner to them because they don't know that you're just playing the field, but you want them, on the side or somebody to be able to come home to fill in that loneliness. Or you're disregarding people who could be a better match or better suited or better for you because you're not dating with purpose. You're dating out of fear of being alone. And so, you're stuck in this spot where you're either coming off as a bad person because you're, emotionally, mentally cheating on the person that you're supposed to be in a relationship with, or you're closed off to, potentially better partners or a suitable married partner, long-term partner.
Thank you very much. Wow. We need to date with purpose. Let me call Sister Chema. Unmute yourself. Because there's still a question that I want to ask us. How do we kill that fear? That fear of the unknown, how do we kill it? But I want Sister Chema to come in first. Over to you. Sister Chema, are you talking or?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to add to what the speakers have said, and from experiential level, and especially I can relate to what JP was saying, because I'm a single parent too. God does not waste our pain. Sometimes I don't know how long healing takes place. And like we've done in so many of your episodes, and we said it's different for everyone. But from my own personal experience, I found out that the pain of where you're coming from is very essential for your purpose. The trauma you've been through help you to define your path, define whom you want in your life. But because you know why? I've been privileged to meet a couple of people. As much as I'm not sure if I'm ready to commit or to have another relationship. But just like we say, the red flags come up. You kind of want to ignore it, but the pain resonates from the deepest part of your heart. So when we're saying we're ignoring the red flags, it's not that we see it and overlook it. No, it pierces and digs the sore again. And we mask it like it doesn't hurt us because we are hungry for a relationship. But when we recognize that hurt in the heart and we prioritize ourselves to a relationship or to whoever is coming to our life, number one is we are getting purpose, what we want. I don't want this, and I'm not ready to compromise it. And these are my reasons. It is a different thing that I said, I don't want a man that will beat me. I don't want a man that will disrespect me. What are my reasons? Because I'm a good woman and I deserve to be loved, cherished, and nourished. And even if that man doesn't come, I'm okay being by myself and loving myself and nourishing myself. So we coming, like moving from the point A to the point B. Your pain has a role to play in your purpose. So we have to get over the idea of, oh, I think I love him. I feel I love him. Oh, I love this person. I'm able to commit. No, it will not be as a result of intentional decision. This is who I'm looking out for. And I'm willing to be that person in my own. And what do I mean by I'm willing to be that? Because we've said that a lot. Are you the person you're looking out for? If you want someone that will respect you, you've got to be respectful to yourself. Like one of the ministers I said, you can't dress up naked and you're expecting a man that should respect you to come around. No, because who we are is not just as how we dress, it's also in our character, in the way we behave. So for me, that has been abused. I looked at my journey. Where did I get it wrong? Where did I add to this? Does that make sense? Because it still comes up. You find that people come around, and especially when they know you've been there, they find a way to maneuver their way and try to be the better person than whom. So I tell myself, I'm not looking for who will be better than who I was with. I'm looking for who deserves me. Does that make sense? Absolutely. So then it takes a lot of courage. Self-awareness is important. Confidence is important. But the courage to say, look, A, B, C, D, I'm okay. Pure RST, a big no for me, and I'm not ready to negotiate it. Are you in or out? Be ready for them to call you a bitch. Be ready for them to call you, oh, you're speaking from pain. Oh, you're speaking from trauma. Oh, you want us to, that's okay. It is about you. Because when you don't have that courage to embrace where you're coming from, where you are, and where you hope to be, nobody is going to embrace that or build that. You will have to build it by yourself. Everyone coming is coming to see what they can share or take. Only you have to give yourself and help yourself pull through. I don't know if I'm making sense at all.
You did. I mean, absolutely. You did. Thank you very much. So it's about self-reflection, self-awareness, and being
Confident and courage.
confident to say, no, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, and then move on from there. Thank you very much. Let me just ask this question. How significant is self-love when you're trying to commit into another relationship? Can you say that self-love overcome fear of commitment? How powerful is self-love? I'm going to come to Rod.
Your question is, how powerful is self-love when it comes to commitment?
Yes. Because they always say something that if you don't love yourself, it will be difficult for you to love others. And it's most likely that what you'll be seeing is their flaws. Even when you put their flaws on a scaling, a scaling machine, and they're good, actually overcome their flaws.
Well, I think everybody loves themselves to a certain level, to a certain extent. The problem comes when you love yourself too much, and you're going to be selfish in the relationship, or if you don't love yourself enough, and you're going to put up with abuse that a normal person would not put up with. That's my short answer.
So you got to balance it, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. With what the last lady was saying, I think you have to be realistic also about what you're looking for. If you're not judging yourself realistically, if you think you're a 10 and you're just a 6, and you're holding yourself out for this great guy that you're never going to get, then you're probably hurting yourself, and you're going to grow old alone. When that's not what you want. You really want to be with somebody. You're just looking for the wrong person.
You want to be with someone, but you're looking for the wrong person. From where? From which perspective is that?
From everybody else's perspective in the world. Like I said, if you think you're a 10 because you have so much love for yourself, and you're not a 10, and you're looking for a guy that he's an 8, and he knows he's an 8, and the whole world thinks he's an 8, and he wants an 8, but you're a 6, then you're not gonna get that guy, because you're not even looking at him. You're looking for a 10.
Thank you very much, Rod. Someone just wrote in the chat room that not everyone loves themselves. I'm not sure whether she wants to come up and explain that more for us. Let me call God's daughter. Thank you for joining us. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you to all our speakers. It's been so interesting listening to different views. I have gained a lot. I just want to start from where we stopped about self-love. I believe self-love is about being truthful to yourself. That's the best thing you can do for yourself. Being truthful to yourself. Like so many people have been saying, what exactly do you want? And then trying to critique yourself. Who am I? Where have I gone wrong? Are there some things I need to take care of in my own personal life as well? But most importantly is, what exactly do you want? Like I was listening, I think one of the speakers who was talking about being in a relationship that is valuable to self. And I kind of share it. And it's also like what Sister Chioma said as well. See, I think I have a policy. I don't know if I mentioned it before. It's like I adopted that policy in 2023. And this, I have zero tolerance, and I mean totally zero tolerance to anything or anyone that does not make me happy. And since I adopted that, I've been able to move forward, because it's just a matter of loving myself. I can't, the Bible says is love others as you love yourself. How can I love others more than myself? So it starts from self. It starts from being truthful to self. And when we're talking about red flags, what happens most of the time is that we're just blinded by this euphoria of being in love, that we don't just see it. You see, because there is no way one can hide. If you had not done it to you, would have done it to someone else. So fact finding, very, very important. Being in a courtship doesn't have to be as long as forever, but being in a courtship that is effective, being truthful, very, very important. And there's one thing I really want to say, and I want to even ask. Because when we're talking about marriage, so many people believe that, oh, like, of course, the word of God says, two of you have become one. I want to ask, does the fact that you are married to someone eliminate your individuality totally? Does it? Does it mean you are no more feasible in that marriage, especially we women? Does it mean we are not feasible at all in that marriage? Or is it just about two people coming together to unite despite their differences? Is it about two people trying to accommodate each other? Or is it the fact that you do not have a life again? Because I think these are some of the things that come up that make people rebel in their marriages. Like, because I'm married to you, like one of our speakers said, so I can't watch football anymore. Must I be going to a party with you or something like that? So I think that's a question. Does it eliminate our individuality? And that's where I would like to stop. That's my question. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Amen. Thank you so much for that.
I would like to say that I heard one time somebody said when two people get married, they become one. The question is, which one? Because I think a lot of times when people get married, things will go more toward one person. It just does. I don't think there's no meeting I don't think they meet in the middle. I think someone is going to give a little more of themselves and the other person is going to take a little more than themselves. And maybe that's how it is supposed to be. I don't know. But somebody's going to get served better.
Can I say something to that?
Go on, please.
Okay, when it says the two shall be one, when a person marries, the two shall be one. So when there's a divorce, there's a brokenness. So when the two shall be one and there's a brokenness, that doesn't mean you lose yourself for that person. And that doesn't mean that one person will get more than the other. When I hurt, my husband hurts. So let me just go back to the two shall be one. When there's a brokenness, when there's a divorce, you have to go through the grieving process as if someone died. And what I mean by that is when the two shall be one and there's no longer the one, it's a brokenness. It's not that you have to go through the grieving process if somebody died, because the two are no longer one. So you have to go through the grieving process. You have to grieve. Okay, we won't be together and see our grandkids together. We won't go on this vacation together. We won't retire together. So that's where the brokenness comes from. And that's where the grieving comes from, because you are no longer the one flesh. You are no longer one. But that doesn't mean I can't still enjoy shopping because my husband doesn't enjoy shopping. That means we need to discuss it. And when I go shopping, he goes golfing. Or when I go shopping, he does something that he wants to do. It's a compromise. It's a back and forth. It's not that just because we're married, he dotes on me, I get everything and he gets nothing. That's why you have to have a communication and conversation about it. That's why you have to say, okay, what are your likes and what are your dislikes? If he likes going to the party and I don't, that may be my me time. That may be my self-care time for me to take a bath, for me to read a book while he goes to the party. that doesn't mean he can't do the things that he enjoys doing, or I can't do the thing I enjoy doing. It is, we compromise on those things and we come to an agreement as to what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. So it's a compromise. We could still be one and there's no brokenness, but we could still have an understanding of the other person and what their likes and dislikes are.
So it can still be
Yes.
managed when we try to compromise our stand within the relationship. Thank you very much, Diana.
I was
Okay, go on, Rod.
I was partly trying to be funny when I said which one.
I know, we know.
I don't believe that relationships are 50-50. Hardly any relationships are 50-50. It doesn't work that way in the church. There's a head of the church. It doesn't work that way in business. There's a head of the business, and it doesn't work that way in the family. And just in relationships, someone is gonna give more than the other one. Somebody's gonna take.
So if I want to put that question to you now, I will ask you, in most relationships, who always want to take the lead? Because what happens is that they're going to refer us back to the book, to the Bible, to say the husband is the head of the family. Even if the husband is not doing what is right, he's still the head. And that's where the problem lies, to be honest with you. But can we change that? I don't know whether we can change that, because it's not possible, because that's what the word says. So
Well,
how do we balance this? And I think that's where Adana is coming to say it has to be compromised. We need to meet at a point. I'm going to ask a question now. Let me call Evangelist Ola Jolakwe, because I can see a hand up. Go ahead.
Yes. I just want to answer the last question. It's very simple. If it's not 50-50, things will not work right. There will be a problem in the marriage. It must be 50-50. Yes,
Great.
You must love one another as one. You must become one body, one mind, one soul. If that is not happening, then you are in a wrong relationship, wrong marriage. That is how it should be. And that is what is causing the problem now. You see that the man is a liar or the woman is deceitful. One of them are not truthful to one another. When you love one another, you will think the same direction. I'm a Christian, so I'm going to use that same Bible passage that says, can two people work together except they agree? So when they are courting, they must know everything about each other. So now what do I call myself now? My husband left me for another younger woman. Okay, I have 6 children. I've been married for 35 years, and the marriage has been a very toxic one from the beginning. So the question I wanted to answer is what Todd said. I've forgotten what he said now. That that I answered in the chat room. That what did I say in the chat room, please, Prophet Shane? I answered him at that time. Love.
Well, if I can
Can
say,
you read it to me, please?
I'm trying to pick it up. That is not everyone that love themselves.
Yes, about loving yourself. Let me just go back to that place. I was in a very toxic relationship. From the beginning, it was a marriage of deceit, but I did not realize, because I'm a deep lover. When I fall in love, I fall in love with you. So now I wasn't seeing all the red flags. It was coming, but I did not see it. And I was trapped in that marriage. I have 6 children and 7 grandchildren, to the glory of God. And why was I trapped? The first thing is my culture, my religion. So I was so afraid about what people will say. I wasn't loving myself at all. I was not loving. I was living for people. I was living for the church. I was living for the family. I was living for the community. I did not even think about myself. So I was blaming myself for almost everything. I was blaming myself. I'll be thinking, oh, what have I done wrong? Oh, maybe I don't know how to talk. Oh, maybe I don't know how to do this. I was just blaming myself. And I end up doing most of the things in the house. It's not a good giver. There's no love. And I did not see it. I did not see it. I was trapped for over 30 years in the marriage. You know, there are so many marriages that you see them outside, but what you see is not what you get. Mm-hmm. You see them holding hands, kissing one another. In my culture, they put on the same dress, the same color. You know, you see them dancing together. But what you see is not what you get. You see that the woman is lonely in the marriage, or the husband is lonely in the marriage. You know, and this is what happens when the man left me for a younger woman. I keep on saying younger woman, but unfortunately now she has 3 children, and she's now 3 times bigger than me. She's now
that
obese.
means that the man is looking after her.
She's now obese. So the slim girl that, you know, so it's so funny. But she's not the only one that he has in the marriage. He has 3 women with 7 children. You know, I can now talk about it now because I went for counseling. One of our speakers mentioned counseling. I went for counseling. Though I'm a minister of God, I thought I was doing well, but I wasn't. Not until I went for counseling. I went to a Christian counselor. Then my life was just like that. I opened up to me and I said, oh my God, I wasn't taking care of myself. I was just living for people. What people say, you know. So many people, I just want to say this and round it up. When Todd said everybody loves themselves, I say, wow, let me talk. Many people don't love themselves. They are living for fear of what people will say, their religion. Oh, if I divorce, if I leave this man, if I do this, if I do that, what will they say in my church, this and that? That is what people are living for. But thank God for this type of program. It's a high opener. It's educating people. And, you know, that's why I've shared the program for the younger ones and the older ones to come and learn, you know, and learn from other people's experience, listen to what the professionals will teach us. I so much love what everybody have been saying, and I always follow what Shioma teaches here on this platform as well. You know, very educative, and I'm really gaining from it. So I say thank you to everybody. But we all have scars, we have stories to tell. And what this program, honestly, is pointing fingers at many of us, even those people that said they are married. They are married, but they are lonely. They are lonely in the marriage, you know. They don't love themselves. They don't know, they cannot see the way out. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They don't know where to seek help from. They should come to this type of program and they will learn from people. God bless you. Thank you.
Wait,
thank you very much.
I'm here.
Did she just say they don't love themselves?
Yes.
I said everybody. I agree. I disagree with you on a few things. With everything we're talking about today, we're not considering people that are mentally ill. Okay, right? We're just talking about regular, reasonable, fairly reasonable people.
Okay.
If someone doesn't love themselves and they're alive today, then I would challenge them to stop eating. Don't take care of themselves. Most people love themselves at least a little bit, enough to eat and feed themselves. The other thing I disagree with you about is a relationship being 50-50. That's just not, it's just not real, and it's not even realistic. If a relationship is 50-50 and the 2 people disagree, if my wife says, I'm going out tonight with my girlfriends, or I'm going to take a 2-month trip to Italy with my girlfriends, and I say, oh, no, you're not. If we're a 50-50, we're not going to be able to settle that. And at that point, in order to settle it, then I might take my physical advantage and try to hold her there or something. 50-50 just doesn't work. Someone has to be submissive. Someone has to say, okay, we're not in agreement right here. We're going to take your road. If not, there's just going to be chaos. It just will. And the other thing I disagree with you about is saying that your wife left you for, your husband left you for a younger man. A younger woman. I don't believe it happens that way. I think that is a result of him not being happy at home. Not that it's your fault, but that's a result of the team breaking. You guys not being one enough.
Okay, let me quickly
and
say
that might be
something.
because you have the 50-50 attitude. And the last thing I want to disagree on is you probably should blame yourself, because you can't control how other people act. All you can do is control yourself. So you have to look at yourself and say, okay, what did I do? What can I do to make sure things are different the next time? If you don't look at fault in yourself, you're not going to change your reality, and you're not going to change how you think about things, and you're not going to change how you act. So you're just going to get the same thing.
Thank you. Thank you. I take what you have said as a constructive criticism. So no fuss, no anger, nothing. Thank you for that. But I want to answer you. I'll just give you one answer. And the answer is that regarding the man that you're talking about, if you listen to me very well, I said the marriage was 34 years and he has 7 children from 3 other women. So I didn't say only one. So you did not listen. So it's not only one. 3 other women has 7 children for him out in this marriage. So now I don't know what you want to say. Maybe it's still me that is not satisfying him or giving him what he wanted. So that I leave that question answer to you to answer. Then when I said 50-50, maybe I didn't get you right. But what I'm trying to say, as a Christian, I'm saying that your love, understanding, submission, everything that you do for one another must be 100%. Okay? But when someone was talking, I think it's Prophetess Foye, she said, I can't remember what she said, but the answer for it for me is that, well, because you and your husband wants to be one, you cannot determine when he goes to bed to sleep. So if he wants to go and watch football, then you can decide to rest or cook in the kitchen or go to, yes, it's just a matter of agreement, good communication. You have good foundation in your marriage, then you will have good home. That is what I realized after my marriage, after the broken marriage. Then I sat down and I said, yes, this is how it's supposed to be. Building your home on a good foundation. So if you're going to have a man, then there must be a good communication, agreement from the beginning. Don't shy away from anything. Don't be scared of anything. What will be, will be. So yes, by the grace of God, I'm going to remarry. Okay, I've make up my mind. Whereas before, when I said people don't love themselves, I'm thinking of my religion, and I'm thinking, oh, if this man left me, I cannot remarry again. I'd rather stay single. And now I see that I cannot cope. All my children are grown up. My firstborn, my last born is going to be 21. And I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. It's not possible. I prayed and I decided, yes, it's going to happen. Now, if it's going to happen, the person that's my companion, I know it's going to be a companionship, not for children or whatever. So the person must be my friend. He must know where I am weak and strong, and I need to know his own. No, we don't need to, there must be 100% transparency. If you're a liar, tell me, let us talk about, okay, this is how we can sort it out, So that is what I meant. I'm talking as a child of God. I'm not talking as somebody who just go to university, read about something and talking about it. I'm talking as somebody who is led by the Spirit of God. And this is what is going to happen in my life by the grace of God. And this is what I'll be soliciting, preaching all about. That if you want to go into a marriage, there must be 100% openness. Don't hide yourself. Don't hide anything. from one another. This is what affected me, and it will never happen again. So God bless you, and thanks for listening.
Thank you very much for your submission. Thank you for your contribution. God bless you too. Over to you.
Can I make one quick statement?
Okay, Mr. Yola, hold on, please. Go on, Adina.
I wanted to make one quick statement. When we talk about marriage being 50-50, as a marriage coach, I don't agree that it's 50-50. Marriage is 100-100. I bring 100 of myself. My husband brings 100 of himself. And when you talk about compromise, when we make an agreement, we make an agreement together. We talk about those things. We're in this marriage together. There's submission one to another. If we're going by the Bible says submit one to another. So if I go to my husband for, like he was saying, if I go to my husband and say, hey, I want to go out, then that's an opportunity for a conversation. If he doesn't want me to go out, then that's when he can say, well, babe, can we do something together? Can you not go out with your girls tonight? Can we maybe do something as a family, do something together to build our relationship? I was thinking maybe we could watch a movie together, something like that. And that's where the compromise comes in. He doesn't lord over me. He's not going to say, no, you're not going out. That's when you have a conversation. That's why we are husband and wife. That's why we're equals as far as we're both adults. I'm not his child and he's not my child. So he would talk to me and we would compromise. We would just have a discussion. It's not, no, you're not going out tonight, because we're both adults. And so that's where you talk about marriage is a compromise, and it's 100, 50-50. If I'm only giving 50% of myself to this marriage, then someone is lacking. Then there's a problem. I'm bringing 100% of myself to the marriage, and so is my husband.
Thank you very much, Adina.
And we should remember there could be moments of unemployment when one person could be working and the other person not working. It's about this 50-50 thing. So sometimes when the Bible says submission, you find that you're giving up. The 50-50 or 100-100 will never work always in this life. If one person is unemployed and the other person is employed, oh, you're bringing the money, I'll be cleaning the house. Okay, I get that. How does finance cover for cleaning? They don't balance. Does that make sense? Paying the bill and cleaning doesn't balance. And let's say it's the man that is unemployed and the woman goes to the work. So what is it? Maybe the man is ill and has to be ill for 2 years. And the woman, yes, family will come in and air. So can you see? That is where the submit yourself one to another comes in. And that was submit yourself, we can't even put it in percentage.
Wow.
I leave us to figure out where the percentage comes in now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Let me hear Mr. Yola.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know. Can you hear me? I don't know if I've moved my
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you, my sister. Wow, what a conversation. Well, I'm going to digress a little bit. I'm married, and I think Sister Shay knows that. Father of 3 children. The challenges that somebody like I have is how to keep the love going. I've been married for more than 20 years. So probably my own situation is slightly different from what I have. Although it's a lot of it's going to my head, I'm thinking, okay, there are a lot of things I can take from a lot of things I've been said here, like communication, 50-50 and all that. So challenges that someone like we have, or myself personally have, is how do you keep a relationship? Because like it's been alluded to at the beginning of the conversation, after a while, maybe you've been married for more than 10, 15 years, then things starts to wane a little bit, and you start to think. So I like some of my our talk hosts to tell us, how can somebody like us that have been married, I know it's a bit digression what we're talking about, how can we keep the fire glowing, if you don't mind. So please, I just want to share that. Please help us with that.
JP,
thank you.
Okay, Adina, you want to answer?
I do. I've been married to my husband 24 years, together 27. And you keep the fire going. Like last week, he planned a really nice date for me. So we went out, and he knows that's what makes me happy, and it's making each other happy. It's doing things for each other. I know he likes to eat what I cook, so I'll bring him his lunch, during the day. You continue to do things to make that person happy. And so that's part of the fire. You send each other sweet text messages. Hey, well, I'm not going to get too explicit, but you know, send them nice text messages, leave them notes, letters, different things like that. I write my husband letters a lot. And I mean, we've been together over, you know, 27 years now. So you just have to do what that person enjoys and what makes them happy. I know he likes to eat the food. I know he likes, you know, back rubs or whatever the case may be. You put yourself out there and you make sure you do what that person enjoys. You spend that time, you think about them oftentimes before you think about yourself. And that's part of the 100-100. You know, if this thing is going to make him happy, then that's what I'll do. So that's some of the ways you can do it. Date each other. You know, look for ways to enjoy each other. I mean, we have children, we have young children, and they know it's mommy and daddy date time. We are going to go out and we're going to enjoy each other. So you have to make each other a priority.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I know JP, before I call Chema.
I would say make them feel appreciated.
Mm.
And so figure out what their personality traits are and what their love languages are, and show them appreciation in the form that they want to receive appreciation, right? So like she was just saying that he likes home cooked meals, you know, so he likes acts of service, right? That makes him feel appreciated and loved. So say, you know, if that's not what your wife receives as appreciation, figure out which one it is, whether it be gifts, you know, physical touch. You know, if she's high in physical touch, then, you know, try to make more time of just snuggling on the couch and she'll feel more appreciated. If it's words of affirmation, leave her notes around the house. You know, I'm words of affirmation. So when I have a partner who leaves like a note in my pickup behind the steering wheel that I got to look at when I start my pickup in the morning that says, have a great day. Like I feel appreciated because that's how I receive appreciation and how I receive love. And so knowing how your partner receives appreciation, because that's how I felt appreciated. But if I did that to that same partner, her appreciation was physical touch and her love language was gifts. And it wasn't like extravagant things, but if I came home and I brought a single flower to her as a gift, then she felt appreciated. And when everybody feels appreciated, it's just keeps the fire burning. Everybody, you continue to build on love, I would guess. I mean,
thank you very
everybody
much.
loves to be appreciated.
Much, thank you. I'm going to call, Rod, I'm coming back to you, but I'll call Sir Chema now, please. And then Rod, and that will be the end of today.
I may not be the right person to suggest, but I'm coming up with it because I'm suddenly excited. It's what I ever wanted to do in my marriage. Then I heard a man of God say it. If you know about marriage today, I can't remember the name of the man, but if you listen to Marriage Today, he said, and this is what I suggested in my marriage, but it never came to pass, that it can be like a labor or a duty. And that the wife seems to be more romantic and more knowing how to appreciate and do some of those things Edna and JP said, but he seemed to be on the laid back side. And the weight of keeping the spice of the marriage became too much for the wife, that it was like the spice was dying, the flavor or the spark was dying down. So they devised a strategy, and that was a strategy I suggested to my ex-husband. Can we plan something monthly and have who is doing what? It's not like a duty. So this month or these 2 weeks, I'm going to come up with an idea of something for us. He's not going to know. And that's what he said he'd do. So it's something you can do. So you find out that every month, maybe this month is you or this 2 weeks is you. It doesn't have to be every day, it might be one thing. So the weight of the responsibility of spicing it up will not be on you alone. It won't be on your wife alone. But you find out that each month, two of you has something you did for each other, which is not big, like JP said. It doesn't have to cost money. It can be little surprises. But it's just that monthly, there's something going on and you're prioritizing yourself and not being overshadowed by children or work or other responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Chema. Thank you very much. You have to, you plan things around. So we heard, It's something that both of you can, you surprise each other. I think we have a lot of it written in the chat room. So if you go to the chat room, I think there are a lot of advice there. I'm going to call on Rod. I think it was you now, and then we will call it a day. It's been an interesting afternoon. Over to you, Rod.
So I think we all know that the tongue is like a double-edged sword, but it doesn't have the same healing power as it does, as the power it has to hurt. And to me, I think all the good stuff that JP and Adina said falls into the same category. All the good things we do don't have this same power to create love and to keep the fire going as the things that we might do or say that would damage the relationship. So I think probably the most important thing to keep a relationship going is to resolve the conflicts quickly, and instead of letting them go on for years and build up, because that can, you can buy me a diamond ring, but if it's gotten to the point where I'm not interested in you, and this is the 5th diamond ring you've bought me, it just doesn't mean as much as you coming home late last night or not coming home at all. So I believe in order to keep things going, we have to keep our disagreements down. And that's why I ended up with couples coaching with instant results, because of what my wife and I had gone through. My wife's a wonderful person, but after 10 years or so, I wanted out, and we went to a marriage counselor and we got kicked out on the 5th week because I didn't want to do an exercise. And I was like, Lord, if I'm going to stay in this relationship, I need to see some progress right now. So I started working on something, and I realized that I didn't really have any issues with my wife, but I realized if we had been able to resolve our disagreements as they occurred, then we would have been talking more. We would have been understanding each other more, and our bond would just have grown stronger and stronger. So if we could just resolve our disagreements quickly without a lot of fuss and drama, I think we'll find that the relationships will last forever.
I knew you were hard-headed, Rod.
Thank you very much. Oh my God, it's been an interesting afternoon. Wow. What can I say? What can I say than to say a big thank you for all my guest speakers that have turned up this afternoon to come and have this robust discussion. And I'm sure a lot of us must have learned one or two things from today's discussion. Commitment is about you. It's been said, yes, we all have our past, and our past can never be erased. But however, we can work on our past, not to be an interference into our present and our future. We have to give love a chance. But then, in the process of doing that, we should not forget about the red flags, because whatever is going to be your own permanently, you will surely see it from the beginning. It's just unless you're not paying attention. And again, I don't think there's any topic that we bring on this platform to come and discuss that this word doesn't come out. And that's the word of communication. We are in the word of communication. If you cannot communicate with each other, why are you together anyway? You need to be able to communicate everything that needs to be communicated with you and your spouses, because that is when you can actually have an easy ride. So if you are going back into a relationship, maybe you've opted out and you now want to go back in. You've heard all the tips today. You need to communicate. You need to stop this self-blame, because I think there are self-blame, people, they're blaming themselves. Oh, maybe it was me. Oh, maybe it was, no. You have to have an open mind to go into a new relationship. And maybe make your dating purposeful, not just dating, just for dating's sake, because then you will continue to attract the wrong person. Be the person. They said be the person you want to attract, but Rod said to us that you don't want to be someone that is promiscuous, because that's not what you want to attract. So you must be yourself and look for the best in a man, but don't overlook. I mean, have a plan, but don't be too excessive. I mean, not everyone is perfect in this world, but don't go for things that will actually affect you again. Once you come out from one, you don't want something else to affect you. You need to be very, very wise in your decision making. Thank you, JP Marsh, for coming today. I appreciate you all the way from America. I hope you can go back to sleep now if you want to, because you've been on since 7 a.m. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rod. Rojetta, thank you so much for coming in and for your robust submission. Thank you so much. God bless you. And Adina, thank you so much. And I hope when I want to discuss about psychology, I'll be bringing you in. And parenting, JP, I've not forgotten. So Rod, if you send us your app or how we can get your app, I'm sure a lot of people may be interested in checking that app, because that will give us a sense of direction.
Yes, please.
So I don't have the app. I don't have the app yet. We're working on it. But
Okay.
there is a game, and the game looks like this. And I have a book. But if you go to my website, you can watch couples, and I did put the website in the chat. You can watch couples actually playing games to resolve all kinds of disagreements.
All right, that's good. So we've had that. We can always share. I think it's shared the website in the chat.
Yes.
If you're interested, please copy it and then have a look at it. For everyone that has joined us this afternoon, including those that have left, those that are watching us on Facebook, those that will still watch us on YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube. Come Let's Reason Together is on the YouTube. We are loading so many. We started this journey since the past 3 years. So we are uploading a lot of our discussions whereby you can go there and, listen to any part of issues that might be worrisome to you. You will always get, some vital answers there. So thank you, everyone. And I pray that whatever we do, the Lord will be before us and will be after us, and He will perfect everything that concerns us. I have no doubt that we can still find love. Love is in the air. We can still find love. It's still in the air if you look rightly and purposefully. God bless you all. And I'll see you in another 3 weeks' time when we come back to Come Let's Reason Together, where we learn from experience. Bye.
Hi, thank you.
Bye. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, speakers.